Feedback here. It shows it's registering sound. Are you guys hearing sound? Are you hearing echoing? Feedback here. It shows it's registering sound. Okay, now it's working this. You know, yesterday I'm pretty confident I did it the same way, and there was an echo. So I had to mute the mic that's showing on my streaming software, and that took off the mic on the webcam and left the desk mic open. And now today, the desk mic is associated with the microphone on, so I don't know what happened there. It just confounds me. I guess there is a couple things I could have done that can account for that, so I'll think about it later and probably want to jump out in front of a city bus. But for now, I'm going to get started on this. I think I'm done with my setup. I can erase my little cartoon here of a guy. Obviously looks frustrated. That wouldn't be me. Any likeness is coincidental. So, all right. I probably need to clean the lens on my webcam. It looks a little smoky there, doesn't it? That'll add to the ambiance. So if you're just joining me, I haven't started drawing anything yet, and I'm not sure what I'm going to draw. I apologize for the lighting. I have a light right here, and it just has a personality of its own, and it's decided to take a couple personal days, and I can't get it to go on. I'm going to try it again. It's going to make a liar out of me. Come on, make it. Nope, it's not. It's taken the day off. I have no idea. I'm about 99.9% sure it's not a fire hazard. I think there's a safety switch in there that is doing its own thing, and that's the kind of thing you want to malfunction on a plugged-in device, is a safety feature. And I'm figuring that it fails its type 1 error. It fails in the off position. So let's see if it decides to come back. But in the meantime, hopefully you'll be able to see enough, even with this really dark shadow on the side of my hand. I think it's not going to be too bad. I'm not really sure. I have another light that I can put on this side, but it's an LED. The ones that I'm using here are fluorescent, and they both flash at different frequencies, and that confuses the sensor in my camera, and it'll produce these. Here, I'll show you. Let me demonstrate. I guess I'm supposed to be drawing, and I'm like playing around with lights. You see that? It's pretty funky, and sometimes it will go away. It'll sync up, and sometimes I can shut off one of the other lights. Okay, I'm gonna try to do that. Let's say I'm still setting up. Okay, still setting up. If you're just joining me, if you've taken the time to stop in and say hello. Get my monitor back. Okay. I think everything looks cool now, except for this light. So we'll take it down, pass it around. Did you guys start singing the 99 bottles of beer on the wall song? Did I trigger? Was that a trigger? How's that? It's better. We got light on both sides. I'm liking that. Okay, I think I can draw now. Maybe if I turn this one on, I'm not going to get the lines. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, let's not give anyone a seizure. So I thought I'd just draw my standard kind of mountain scene with pine trees. And then I thought I'd draw this tree I saw on a show I watched the other day. The tree was beautiful and serene and calming. And the movie was nightmarish. So I think I kind of fixated on the tree as like a safe place, as all this drama and just gruesomeness was going on in this movie. I'm trying to think of what the name of the movie was. I hadn't seen it before. I kind of avoided it because it's Coen Brothers, and their movies tend to be a little bit, and this was no exception. Old Country, No Country for Old Men. Yeah. Absolutely hated the ending. I'd have burnt down the theater if I was in there, paid $7 and it ended like that. I'd be like, what the hell? Movies aren't supposed to go like this. This is real life. This seems too real life. Movies have like, they kind of solve themselves. What are we, in Japan? I just thought it was bizarre. Alright, I thought I'd start out with this nice hill here. Piney hill. Just laying down some indications of some pine trees off in the distance. I want to carry each layer out a little bit further so it'll look like those are fading along some vanishing line, to some vanishing point. Now it's so sunny today, I have to get out. If I don't get out today, I'll certainly regret it. So I got to get out and enjoy the sunshine. It's been such a rare thing around here. You know, if I had the technology, I would take you guys with me. We'd go up in the mountains, or at least up into the foothill until I felt like I was going to have a cardiac arrest, and just stop there and do a live feed from up on the foothill. Might do that when it gets prettier out. Yeah, you guys had some bad storms there, I think. Did I hear like one poor soul lost his life in a tornado there in Illinois? It's terrifying. You know, when those, I think what you guys experienced came through here, and when we went through it, which is nothing like what you guys go through, it's a totally different thing. But in my brain, I was setting up like, if this transition happens in the Midwest, it's going to be ugly for them in a few days. And sure enough, it got ugly for you guys today. I'm just glad everyone's okay that I know about. So people had some property damage. Always replace that. But yeah, we don't get tornadoes here too much in the mountains. Now down in the valleys they do, like the big valleys up by Eugene. Occasionally they'll get a tornado in there. We get lots of wind here. We get wind advisories because it's so strong, and it knocks out power for people, blows trucks off the road. It all gets concentrated like a wind tunnel. It all gets kind of focused and pushed like the opening of a balloon. So it gets quite windy. It's scary too. When it's really windy, I walk on the side of the street. I figured I'd take my chances with traffic versus the sketchy looking limbs I have to walk under that look like they can come down at any time. We have these scrub oaks, I think they're called. They call them around here. I'm not sure if that's the real name of them, but they're these really wicked looking oak trees, and they don't grow real big like oaks you see in the east, but they are really gnarly, and they get covered with lichen, and it kind of weakens them, and their limbs will come down on you if you're not careful. So I got this saddle here, I guess. I'm not sure what's going to be going on here. I may put a mountain back here. I think it needs some mountains. I'm going to start with mountains fading in the distance with a lighter dry erase marker. This one would probably be ridiculously dark. Of course they are. I think when I last used this, it wasn't like this, is why I set it where I did, and when I picked it up, it's of course restored itself over time. But it's not going to last long. It's going to go dead real fast. Okay, there it goes. It's going dead. It's doing what I want. I don't want those mountains so sharp and jiggity. There we go. Soften them a little bit. These mountains are like 20 million years old. I don't know what that means. It's like 20, what's 20 million years? I know what 20 years is. You ever watch like a science show and they'll be explaining something that's just kind of incomprehensible, and the scientist will have some analogy, and then the analogy is incomprehensible. It's like, I don't know what do 100 million elephants weigh? Anyone? I don't know what one elephant weighs, really, practically. I hardly know what a cow weighs, and I see those. I don't see elephants all the time. I certainly don't know what they weigh offhand. I just think that's strange. And then sometimes the analogies they give are more confounding than the concept they're trying to express. Just give it to me straight, man. Give it to me like it is. I can handle it. You're confusing me with this cat bullshit. Try to keep it not so raw here in the daytime. I will use the word shit a lot, I'm sorry, and if anyone takes offense to that, just let me know and I'll try to dial it back. I'll be more sensible for your sake. I'm not against it. Just putting some indication of some mountains back there. And the strokes are all messed up on these. I can't really tell on the monitor, but I can tell to look. So I'm going to try and straighten those up so that there's some continuity in how these rocks have formed. Because you'll get these layers that you can see, and they go a certain direction, given the way that the land is kind of bunched up. If you're into drawing mountains and you want to know kind of how they form and how they erode and how they gather together like they do over billions of years, there is an awesome video. I'll try to post it in the description after I'm done. It's on YouTube. But they do an experiment where they put some material in this this basin, I guess you can call, and it floats on top of some water, and then they use a press to kind of push it together like you would see in continental drift. And it expresses millions of years of time on scale, and you can kind of see how the mountains form right before your very eyes. It's really fantastic. And then when you see stuff like that, you kind of learn what's happening, and it gives you some fundamentals to go by when you're making mountains. You don't even have to really see them to make them. You can just say, okay, this land's bunched up like this, and it made this here, and then that's worn down. And they usually have, because of gravity and wearing, mountains form a particular slope, has a maximum slope usually, and it's kind of a sound structure. It's permanent, and I think that's why the pyramids are the shape they are, because people recognized how permanent mountain shapes are, and they represented that in a linear fashion in their architecture. They probably had things that were kind of like it, maybe sloped more, maybe sloped less. They weren't built on the right things. It sank, tipped over, fell apart. Okay, I'm not sure this kind of reminds me of coming out of La Grande, Oregon, the eastern part, and then you go up toward the Columbia River Valley, and you go down this hill. You're winding around. You'd be going around these foothills here, and it opens up into this huge valley, and then you can see mountains on the other side of it. It's really gorgeous. And then there's a tributary that runs through. I think it's the oh man, that's going to drive me crazy. I can't remember the name of that river. It runs through Hell's Kitchen in eastern Oregon, Idaho. I keep wanting to say the Fox River, but I know that's not right. So let's just go with that. Let's say this is that tributary. This is the valley below. I'm going to try to keep that white space open, and then just put some details in here. How's that sound? So it'd be like trees and things would bunch up around this. It may not look right in the end, and I'll just erase it and do something else, but let's give this a try. You know, it's going to drive me nuts till I find... Hold on just a second. It's going to drive me crazy. Hell's Canyon. Let me see, where's the stupid name? Oh, yes, yes. It's Hell's Canyon, not Hell's Kitchen. Sorry about that. Hell's Canyon in eastern Oregon, and it's the Snake River that goes through there. So this kind of, I'll imagine this is the Snake River from when I came down out of the mountains. Looking on the monitor to see if that makes any sense. And this marker is making great sense, and that sense is it's stopped completely. It's done. It's an eraser, and I'll just throw it up there in my little eraser pile. Oh, heavens. That's way too dark. I don't even know why I tested it there right in the middle. It's like, does it work? Too damn well. Okay, I like that. Put this river in here now. And you're not really even going to see the river. You're going to see pretty much the agriculture and low communities and vegetation that grows up around this low area. Okay, looks like I'm still broadcasting. I'm grateful for that. It's so hard to convey distance with globby dry erase marks. I'm using the same visual elements, little dots of varying shades in different places to represent different things, and it's the same dot. Isn't that crazy? I don't know how I do it. Sometimes it's a complete mystery. I know how I not do it is by overthinking it. So I just try to look at it and randomly assault the whiteboard with my marker or eraser until I get it to look right. And anyone can do that, really. Give it a try. You'd be surprised what you make. Just grab a dry erase board, a marker, and try to just draw a tree or something on it. You'd be surprised how fun it is. Especially when you make a mistake and you just take it right out and it's easy and you just put the right thing back in. It's like old school Photoshop, sort of. I kind of like how that's looking around there. Look like maybe little houses and trees and things. That's what I love on the foothills. There's these little twisty roads that go up the foothills, and then there's ranches and things up there, little houses and fences, and you barely see them, and you can't pick them up on a camera. They're almost too small. But you can kind of make them out, and it just blows my mind because they're like 5 miles away, you know? And to just see all that, it's almost like being up in a plane. It's just across the valley. Seeing the distant valley does remind me a lot of being in a plane and looking down at the hills and stuff. But I don't have to risk my life and sanity. So last night I did Mr. Ed Draws Raw, Mr. Ed Draws Raw, and it's a late feed where I talk about more adult things, and I might say the F-bomb, a few that I've saved up that day. I'd like to let them fly just to get them out of my system. So if you're into dropping the F-bomb like I am, join me for a late feed. I may have one tonight. It'll probably start at around midnight. It'll be 10 o'clock Pacific time. I'll just put some smaller indications out here. And I do have a lot of content on my Facebook page, a lot of live stream videos of me drawing. I started doing them there because it was so much easier than setting up a live stream on YouTube. And plus I was able to practice in an environment that for me was more comfortable. YouTube, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot more pressure. Seems like I have to be a lot more professional and accommodating to a wide range of sensibilities. Whereas on Facebook, I know all my friends and stuff there, most of the people who follow me, and I can be a little gauche, a little raunchy. It's okay. It's not going to hurt anyone's feelings. But on YouTube, I don't want to make anyone feel bad, so I try to dial it back, be a little nicer. Not that I'm mean or anything, but I talk about stuff that's kind of uncomfortable for people. When I'm raw, I'm raw. I make a point, and sometimes I can just be really glib about some parts of it, just for satirical sake. I'm sure we're all like that, really, around our friends. So this stuff in the distance, kind of get it to dot out, and then maybe make a little bit of sharper line here. And mounds, when you see, this kind of look like the Sierra Nevadas a little bit. So when you see mountains that are kind of shrunken like that, not very big, sharp a little bit, you're going to have where debris has come off of it, you'll have mounds down here. They'll be overgrown. I guess that's maybe how the foothills start. Stuff gets pushed up like that, and falls down, and builds up. How's that look? Anyone still watching? I hope it looks okay. Or to anybody watching later, leave a comment. Drop the time. I do try to reply to all my comments. You know, that some of them just, I don't feel like that they, not that they don't merit a reply, but it just seems like a reply isn't necessary. Like, you know, replying would be for the most part superfluous and self-serving. But I do like to at least acknowledge when a person has commented. I will like it if it's likable. I might like it if it's not. Just, you know, people are free to say what they want, and if you have a comment that it's just how you feel, and I may not like it or want to hear it, I'll still respect it. I'll take it in and consider it. Afterwards, it may turn into a big FU, but it could turn into a big thank you as well. So, and a lot of times it does. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of being told to FO, because most likely you'll be thanked instead of insulted. Maybe try and take the edge of that up a little bit on one side and give some indication of where the shadows are coming from. Why are these markers so good and dark? And they're in my dead pile. Let's see, what do I got there? To make sure I'm not bleeding. Okay, I should be put something. What's that? Kind of glance back a little bit and see what's going on. Alright, I think I can. It's sticking. Good. Good. And it's erasing, so that's working for me. Writing and erasing out of the same pen. Remarkable. Demarkable. Okay, my brain's just getting dangerous. My brain's just going everywhere now. The coffee's kicking in. My attention span's picking up. And that's too stark. Let's take some of that out. Take some of that out. I want it to look like it's in the distance, and I think the only way I can do that is to make it light in almost every instance. So even the far side, the dark side, is washed out a little bit. Okay. I think I need some darker and bigger indications up here of the landscape, and I think if I put some fields, I'm going to lay those out in this lighter marker and see if I can do that and get some fields with perspective lines. People can get a grasp what's happening here. Now it's going to be, you're going to be see from this height, these trees are like, 120, 130 feet tall on average, and they're up here, and then what we're viewing at is down there, way down there. So you're not going to be able to see like the plant rows, but you will be able to see where they kind of go in a direction. So you'll see like little short bips of them, and it's not like you're standing there on the side of the road looking down a cornfield. You can see every single row. This far up, you pretty much only see the patchwork where different fields have different colors. So I'm going to try and get that to happen. But first, I got to get a drink of water, because the taskmaster in me won't let me get a drink of water once I start a part. So he just said, you better get some water. You're going to be dry for a minute. Delicious AM Ashland Municipal Tap Water. AM version. So, okay, I love how that's lightening up. Can be lots of lines going in ways. Okay, I think that's working. Try not to whisper all creepily. I'm used to sitting here by myself, and if I talk to myself, it's usually in a whisper. I don't know why I whisper to myself. I guess I don't want anybody to hear. Doesn't really matter. We all talk to ourselves. You reach an age when you're a child, you'll talk to yourself, and then that at a certain age that voice gets internalized and it becomes the voice in your head. But before then, it's the voice outside your head when kids are chattering about all kinds of whatever. It doesn't make sense. It's like you are listening to the sound of the inside of their head. It's precious, because they're going to reach a point where they shut it down. They're going to be afraid to talk out loud around people because they think that people are going to think they're crazy. It's like, no, that's actually the research studies that people who talk to themselves actually are able to expand concepts better, because hearing our language and forming language for concepts helps exercise and place it around different parts of the brain, can activate different novelties that we may have otherwise missed. So it's always good to talk to yourself. If you're unsure about a concept, explain it to yourself. That's the best way to figure out what you do and don't know about it. And do that out loud is okay. Veritasium, I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but talks to himself all the time. He also does presentations in the public, and it helps to talk to yourself as an exercise of doing that presentation, so that when it happens, we've all had speech class. Well, talking to yourself is just kind of like speech class. in a lot of ways. We exercise what we're going to say to people and try out how the tone works so that we know we're the most effective in our communication. Try not to sound like a whiny bitch. You know, I'm trying to watch my mouth. I don't know why I have such a foul mouth today. Probably carry over from last night. Plus, I'm comfortable around Joel. I feel like I can drop a word we might hear on basic cable versus 700 Club. Okay. What do you guys think of that? How's that coming along? Fran, hi. Nice to see you there. I'm sorry I don't look up into the feed too often, but I try. If there's no one in here, then I get away from it more. But then once I see people in here, I'll glance at it some more. So hi there. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're doing well today. I'm sitting here trying to draw what I guess is I don't know what I'm feeling like this is Northern Oregon, but these mountains here look like Nevada. So see how that goes. And then I'm not sure what to do with the front now. I love the look of the top half of this. I need to fix this so that it's not so stark. It's kind of scary. You know how I can fix it? I know how I can, I think. Make all kinds of noise while I dig through these. I'm going to take the edge of this up. There we go. That looks a lot more natural. It also takes that saddle down some. I wasn't completely comfortable with it. And this also reminds me a little bit of looking down Mount Ashland, down the valley. It's not this broad of an appearance, but it definitely does have this kind of downhill looking scale perspective. And there's one part up by the ski lodge. There's kind of like a little bit of an open glade or whatever, a hillside that you look like you could start rolling down and then die. But you also look like you could sing The Sound of Music on parts of it that weren't so treacherous. And it's open, and there's a few trees around. And it's really pretty. As long as you don't get too close to the edge. Don't be like, yeah, step back a little further. I want to get a picture. A little further, you go flying off the cliff. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be me. Alright, I kind of like that appearance. And I think I'm going to try and put this glade in with some big rocks and a few trees closer in of a larger scale. Kind of block this in, frame it, I guess, is that what they say? And then I should pretty much be done with it. I'll be ready to erase it. A digital artist? What do you use? Do you use Photoshop, or you have another application that you use? I do some digital art on, well, I did the screen frame that you see around the video. I did that. I made those markers and stuff. Did the background design. But I don't draw. It's more like build. But I have drawn. I'm not very good at it. I get impatient. I think if I had a pen, like a tablet you could draw on. And I have a big computer with a touch screen. I can draw on it, but I haven't done it. It's just too weird for me to touch. I'm old school. It's like, don't touch the TV, don't touch glass, don't touch the screen, don't touch anything you have to look at or look through. That's just a hard habit for me. I can barely touch my phone to turn it on. Krita, or is it? I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not familiar with it, but you have piqued my interest. I might check that out. I certainly will check out your digital art. I hope you have videos uploaded. Do you have art uploaded on YouTube? Have I checked you out before? I'm losing track of who I'm following. It's just ridiculous. I have over 200 subscriptions that I follow, and I love them all. Every single one of them I love. Some people post more frequently than others, and those are the ones that I usually remember the most. Every once in a while I'll see somebody's stuff and I'll just like bang, remember it, just because I want to go back to it. I don't want to forget it. I'll write it down. So yeah, I'm going to check out your stuff later. I usually like to do that. Get one more, have 201 subscriptions. Why not? There's a few of the subscriptions I have, they post so infrequently, I think I could probably get by with just not subscribing to them, and just check on their channel every once in a while. I don't think it will hurt their feelings. Some people just upload just to have it up there on YouTube, like archived. And they're not so much concerned about subscriptions. So I could probably get by with that, I think. Make it a lot easier to follow the people that post more. Which I have to do that. Okay, putting this weird looking, I think this needs to come over here like that. That's going to work better. Otherwise it just looks unreasonable. And now my marker's sucked up all of the dry erase and it's done. It's going to have to rehydrate. But look here, bam, I got another one. Doing. Luck favors the prepared. I know how this stuff works. It don't. So you always have to have backups. Shoot, I know life. Life yesterday was just like, it was an exercise in coping with failure all day yesterday for me. And I'm usually, look, I'm so practiced at failing. I can just work, I dance around that stuff. Just boo-doo-doom, oh, failure, da-da-da-da, win. Failure, da-da-da, win. Just kind of knock it back, Doesn't work the way that you want, you fail. Think about it, come back at it, you win. And I kind of like that better, There's nothing better than having something kick your ass and then you don't give up. And you're just like Rocky, eye of the tiger. You go back at it, you drink some eggs, run up some steps, and then you kick it in its balls. That was my life yesterday. I wasn't drinking eggs or running up steps. I did climb like a 60-foot hill. Every time I go to the store, I got to walk down and up this ridiculous hill, and I feel like it's either going to kill me or it's going to make me stronger. And I feel like sometimes it's strangely doing both. Okay. Yeah, those, I'm not sure what's happening. Back in, some contrast lines. So there's not, there at the very tip, if you hit dry erase with the very tip, it glums onto what's there. It creates a barrier, and then it will erase. So, and then if you tilt it a little bit, you can kind of get what's building up on the side. It'll start pulling it out, and then, so sometimes you can erase what's there and you know how to do it, or you can draw what's there. And when you learn the difference, dry erase is just, it's a legitimate art form. I mean, you can do some things with it. It's not so unpredictable. It's not so unreliable in a lot of ways. You just have to study it. It's an animal, that's for sure. It has a personality, and sometimes it does seem like it has a will of its own. But it follows rules, and you can exploit those. and get it to do what you want. And if you can't, just toss that to the side. I bleeped out my own word there. And then grab another marker and go at it again. Okay, now I might have a hard time here because this is a pretty good marker, but that stuff was good when I put it down there, so it's pretty thick. And it'll peel up and block my marker. And then I'll have to hope that my other one is recovered. And just switch back and forth. I like those lines. I think that's looking really interesting. It's giving the eye somewhere to go. Taking the scale up a little bit so it looks more in the foreground. It's verging on looking like grass. Honestly, it doesn't look like tall trees. I'm not sure how to fix that. But I have an idea. I'm going to have to draw in trees here. The bottom of this brush. Okay, when you look at that, you're pretty sure it's not grass. That's definitely a Christmas tree shape I'm dotting in there. And it's just kind of like a zigzag that goes up and down in an elongated triangle for some trees. I have a bad habit of making Christmas trees when I really need to make these evergreens, which are more tubular. They're like totally tubular. And they're not as triangular. And the limbs are more straight. So I will show you those here. This is more of an evergreen looking tree. And that's more of a, I don't know, Christmas tree, whatever those are. Fir, I don't know. I'm not an expert at pine trees. I just draw them almost every day of my life. And I guess a pine tree is something different too. I should refer to them as conifers, because that's what they are. And that covers them all. Which is cypress. It's a type of conifer. Juniper is a type of conifer. Firs, evergreens. Oh, well, I'll just imagine it's maybe something's fallen over back there. Who knows? I have like a toothpick, like one of those plastic dental toothpicks with the piece of floss on the back. I thought of using one of those to draw in these lines because it's a really fine point. But I'm not sure because I don't want to scratch my whiteboard. I've already scratched it enough. I have to buy me another one, but they're expensive. You know, they cost. This one here I think is $11. It's magnetic. It has a magnet. It's like vinyl sticker on what's probably aluminum. It could be steel. Or no, yeah, it is steel because it's ferrous. It's a magnetic whiteboard. So it has to be steel. It's pretty expensive, and you can get the cheap ones that are just like cardboard or maybe even a plastic backer. And those suck. Oh, you got a Chromebook? Oh, and okay, I'm sorry. I got lost in myself. Just running off in my mouth. Let's check out the feed here. From Italy. Fabulous. So it must be what, like 10, 11 o'clock at night? Is that right? There? And Jesse, thanks for stopping by. New Chromebook. Nice. Nice. I hope you enjoy that. Surf some serious web with that, Mamba Jamba. And you can do a lot of stuff. You know, I used to have Microsoft Office with the word processor and presentation and all that jazz. And My computers kept failing, and I had to keep reinstalling the software or even buying it again. I got so irritated after about $500. I'm like, the heck with this. Chrome offers all of that stuff for free in their browser. All you have to do is open a browser, and you have all that stuff there available to you. It's fantastic, and it's for free, and it's always there. You don't have to reinstall it on your computer every time your computer takes a shit, which mine do all the time. And if I have to get a new computer, it immediately takes me a week to download and install everything that I need to do all the stuff that I do on them. So I'm not looking forward to getting a new computer. I want them to last forever, or at least be able to access that stuff on the internet, so it's always there. And then your files are always there too. I worry people might be looking at them, like Google, but otherwise, yeah, I really like Chromebook's a great idea. You don't have all that third-party software jacking the price of your computer up 10 times. So, yeah. It is that time in Italy, yeah. I try to catch, I have a lot of fans on YouTube that are from Europe. And I try to do these feeds kind of early enough in the morning so that I can catch them like before they're going to bed or whatever, So when I do my YouTube videos, I miss a lot of my friends in the States because they're at work or whatever. But I catch my fans and stuff in Europe. So I really like that. Give everyone a chance to join the fun. As I say, that's kind of my motto. Beautiful Italy. The coastline of Italy, of course, I don't have to tell anyone. It's gorgeous with all the little houses and stuff on the hillsides. A fantastic subject for anyone who wants to paint things that people are going to want, because it's just the way it is. It's beautiful to look at, it's beautiful to paint, beautiful to draw, beautiful to sketch, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I hope you enjoy it there in Italy. What I've seen about it, it's quite a beautiful place. Independent student of art. I've taught myself. I've studied. When I first started studying art, I was a landscape sketch artist in pencil and pen. And then I studied art independently and then learned how to sculpt and do a lot of other things. I'm highly autodidactic. I learn on my own easily. So that works out for me. But it definitely shows up in my style that I'm not formally trained. And I appreciate that more because it stands out. And I don't think it stands out in a bad way. I try to rein it in. I try to have some kind of skill and technique. It's like Windows. Buying Samsung tablets because it's like Windows with all the... Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a Chromebook. I want something a little bit substantial that I can have on the side besides my desktop, because it's kind of inconvenient to work around and work with. I used to have laptops and they were just so convenient, but they get hot and they suffer a lot of problems because of that, so they fail. I do draw really fast. I've noticed when I watch other artists that I usually run a little bit faster than most of them, and still kind of keep the quality up a little bit. Yeah, I think that's working here, putting that negative, that white space in. You have two colors when you do dry erase pictures. You have white and you have black. And then you have kind of the tones in between. So it may seem like you're really limited, but if you're clever, you can get all those things to work in your advantage, to your advantage. Yeah, mobile has definitely ruined that. To have such a powerful computer in your back pocket is astounding to me. I grew up with the Apple IIe, 128K. That was it. And you ran everything off of that. You ran the operating system, you ran the program off of that, and you had to be smart. You couldn't have all this extra stuff. And that's one thing that really annoys me too about all the upgrades, is that you get a computer, they upgrade the software so it takes advantage, it pushes the performance of your device to the absolute limit. So then you get another device so that you can cope with everything that has to be on there, pushing it to its limits. And then they upgrade the software again that pushes the new device to its absolute limits, and then you're in the same situation that you were before, except for now, when you look at something, you can maybe spin it, or put it in like a carousel, or maybe you can look at a thumbnail of it at the bottom instead of having to click. I mean, it's just these little extras that don't really amount to anything, but it's destroying your computer and your life because you're spending more time waiting for things and having things fail that need to. It's like, I have the older Windows operating system on my computer. I haven't upgraded. I tried to upgrade, and the micro SDs are like 1,000 times greater than the computer memory that my parents paid thousands of dollars for. But yeah. Oh no, your English seems quite well. In fact, it seems like you're able to follow the conversation. Autodidactic. Yeah. I probably have a harder time saying that than I am being it. Yeah. In fact, I learned the word myself, autodidactic, reading it in a dictionary. And I just kind of like that the way it is. I don't think I need anything inside framing it. I think it just kind of does itself. I just have to work on scaling in some details in here and scaling in some details in here. And I kind of like it. That's really interesting, I think. Wow. For the first time in maybe 3 or 4 dry erase pictures, I'm like, good job, Ed. The couple of them, I'm like, it'll do. I hate being like that at the end of something. It's like, yeah, that's American quality right there. It'll do. I can't fault it. So details. Put in some details. I'm still thinking. I may change my mind. I might frame it with some trees. In fact, if I can't get this marker working, I definitely will. They have the spray dry erase. Thanks, Jesse. I appreciate that. They have the spray dry erase ink. You can spray it on a whiteboard, and it'll cover the entire whiteboard. And then you can go through and remove the black, exposing the white, so it makes it basically essentially reverses it. And I want to get that, but I've watched some videos of people using it, and they're like, oh my god, this is like it just gets out of control. It's like printer toner, they said, and a tiny bit of it just gets all over, and I said it's horrible. It does its job, but you better be outside someplace where you don't want it to look like a toner cartridge exploded. So I thought about using it, but I'm not crazy about toner ink, and just that in that sentence. Yeah. I think Francesca's English is better than yours, probably. I know it's probably better than mine. I know her Italian's probably better than mine. Since I know none. I know like ciao. I know that. Rocks, big rocks. I got them to look like plants at first, but I actually want them to look like big rocks, outcrops, because it's scale. Keeping that scale. There. Okay, I'm going to use that other marker again because, oh, holy cow, I'm tearing into my whole thing here. Then, zoop. Really concentrating on getting this back part to look right, and it's like it could almost be a ski slope if there weren't so many deadly jagged rocks hanging out everywhere. Yeah, I have a funny viewpoint, funny point of view when it comes to skiing. I won't bore you with it, but I do talk about it in one of my other feeds, and I think it's kind of humorous. All right. So, yep. Later, Jesse. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm sorry if you ducked out before I could finish that, but yeah, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Glad you got to hang out for a little bit. And to change my mind, I do want something in here to kind of be the doorman for this picture. I'm going to call him the doorman, because from a distance you're going to see him standing there kind of welcoming you into this picture, and then you're just going to kind of look past him into the distance there and go, wow, that's a really great view. Now this is tough because the land has the same directional and stroke texture as this tree. Okay, now that I got those base things in, yeah, I'm gonna have to use another marker. If you can wait, if I can, I show my illustrations. You do a show, or like at a market or a convention, something like that, or do you do it on YouTube? Oh, that's terrible. What did I just do? Not what I said I was going to. Okay, there we go. I think that's going to work with that size stroke. It's a little different. You know, that kind of happens with with taking a picture of these trees against hills that have the same texture and same color values. They kind of get lost. So I imagine the same thing would happen if you were doing a drawing. Like, I know it's happening. I don't feel like there's really anything I can do about it at this point, except for just keep on trying, keep on drawing. There we go. some directional details down here. Make that noise too. Sometimes that helps. At least I'm not humming. Oh man, that is just not working. So I have to try something else. And technology. Cool. Wow, that sounds really interesting. My little niece, well, I say she's little, I think she's 7 years old, and she's an artist too. And I want to encourage her to use her art skills in tangent with some other thing that's more technical, more sciencey. I want her to be involved in science as well, and I don't think that there's any conflict at all with that. It's like, in fact, science desperately needs artists. It needs creative people, not only to maybe solve problems in a different way, but also to visualize these concepts so that the people who are trying to understand them better can maybe get a different perspective and solve problems in a different way that way too. So I love to encourage her to use art and technology to be creative that way. So yeah, I'm big on it. Okay, I think that's actually working. On the feed, I can tell the tree is there. I mean, I can really sort of see it. I can see a couple parts that are discontinuous, like right. Okay, I'm a darker stroke. I'm running out of pens that want to work. This one looks all gloopy, like it might do it. Yeah, get some darker stuff there. Get an edge. Oh yeah, right. It's hard for me to tell. Right there. Perfect. That's perfect. Love that. All right, I think that's going to work. I just had to keep at it, you know. I think artists, mostly artists I know, are really determined people by and large. They are pretty tenacious. They don't give up easy. They aren't really easily discouraged. While they do feel discouragement easily, it doesn't dissuade them from continuing ahead. In fact, a lot of people, it just makes them try harder. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Clear my Spilkus from my Connectica Zoink. And I want to take a picture of this, so if you'll forgive me for a second, I'm going to try and take a photo, save it for all posterity. I have a platform above my webcam mount that I can set my other camera on and take photos, and I can also take video, high quality video of me erasing this. So I'll check it out. I'm not able to open it right now, but I definitely will check it out, I promise. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But this, I don't know if you watch my videos or not. Have you seen some of my videos? My dry erase, draws it and erases it is the title of the series. And the end part is quite disturbing for a lot of people. And it is disturbing for me as well, because I love this picture. And now I'm about to destroy it. But I did manage to take a picture of it, and that will live on. And so will this video of me erasing it. So here we go. You have to do the scream like, no, no. You guys ready? Oh my goodness. Here it goes. Doesn't that just, that hurts. That's like a kick in the chode. If you don't know what a chode is, you don't want kicked in it. I'll tell you that much. Awful. That's just awful. And now my light's all going zany. I guess I don't need the light now. Shut that off. All right. It's done. That's it. Mr. Ed draws it and erases it. Live stream. May not have been the most humorous live stream I've made, but the picture was pretty. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll probably edit this down into draws it and erases it video for today, so you can catch a shorter version if you don't want to watch the entire live feed. But I do want to thank the people who joined in live, my friend Jesse and my new friend Francesca. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I will do these at least once a week, sometimes twice. So if you subscribe, join in. Until next time, though, I love you. Take care, and like this video. If you watched it and you like it, give me a thumbs up so I know that someone's paying attention and they appreciate it. You guys take care. Love you. Bye.